Hey everybody, Deb here from Deb's Corner Canada. It is a warm day today, so we're going to try to get through this, but I'm going to talk today about narcissists and illness. I'm sure we have all heard many horror stories or kind of treatment that either ourselves or someone else has received from a narcissist when you are ill, when you're not really useful. So during a sickness, and maybe an injury that's come up, or some kind of a recovery from maybe surgery, something like that. So today we're actually going to discuss each type of a narcissist and what those typical goals are. And even those kind of specific behaviors there that you are going to know, those behaviors and those reactions and their actions, the things that they're going to be doing that you or somebody you know may have experienced here. But really here in general, I guess what we need to start off here in general is what really is their attitude? What is their attitude, right? Being so self-absorbed and all of that. What is that attitude that they have about like a partner or somebody in their circle that is around them, a family member, whomever, right? And who has, a serious maybe or semi-serious kind of condition that has come up or needed to be attended to, and what type of nefarious deeds that will tend to occur where you were laid up, where you were injured, where you were weak, and you were out of commission. So what are we going to see here? So today I've split it up into four specific types: the covert narcissist, the malignant narcissist, and the sociopath, and at the end there with the T-Rex breed, the psychopath, which they're pretty brutal. So you may kind of been asking yourself, if you've experienced this or you've kind of realized this later, what generally do narcissists typically think? What are they thinking when you're out of commission? What's rolling around in that little mind? So really, the rest of the collective would be able to actually place ourselves in another person's position, or and act accordingly to kind of how we would feel and the help we would need, so we can place ourselves there. But honestly, with the narcissist, this is a complete, it's a mirror opposite, and they operate wholeheartedly from their shadow self. That is who steers the ship, their shadow self. We have a light, we have a dark, okay? Choose which one. So meaning your downtime to them equals their annoyance time. That is what that means. Your downtime equals their annoyance time. And common, really devious sabotage tactics. So I made a little bit of a list here of things that you're going to see. So something they're going to do here is fake help. So they will offer assistance, but it's actually going to harm you more. They're going to offer assistance, but get it half done or do it incorrectly, right? They're not going to let you rest. They're going to disturb your sleep. They're going to ignore any kind of medical instructions. They might follow them the first time and then probably not after that. They're also going to minimize your pain. They're going to tell you that you are exaggerating, you are faking. They're going to roll the old eyes, that you're being overly dramatic, trying to get attention, whatever it may be. They're going to keep creating chaos, but they're going to turn it up. They're going to start arguments, but not normal ones. They're going to be more intense. They're going to be more urgent. They're going to make up even fake emergencies to just kind of add on to the drama, add on to that chaos, right? Because they don't want quiet and they don't want calm. So they're even going to stop you here from talking to neighbors, supportive friends, even kind of doctors or others that might be able to kind of help you out, even your own children. Like say you have adult children, they'll even get in the way of that. So they're going to also guilt trip here. So they make you feel really deeply guilty for just doing what you're supposed to be doing, okay? Resting, taking your medication, being in a calm environment, keeping really also in mind here that your purpose and utility to them is based upon your continued usefulness. And so at this point in time, you're not useful. You don't look good. And so they want you always projecting, right? Projecting, marrying out the false public narrative, no matter what stage you're in. Doesn't matter which one. But that is what they've always wanted from you, from day one to the end. That's what they want. So let us really kind of examine how this presents itself, how you're going to see this. So we're going to start out with our first named, which was the covert narcissist. So these ones here, as we all know, or most of us know, so these ones here will operate really in complete victimhood. victims to the end. So they're going to use your medical issue as their soapbox. So this is so that they can claim to all and sundry how hard they have it. Oh, woe is them, right? How much they are juggling, how much they, the key word being they, right? They are juggling, and how unappreciative you are with, they go to work and then they do this and the daddy, the whole list, right? So really here you got to pack your bags, right? Because you are definitely going to be going on a guilt trip when you're least prepared. You don't have a passport, right? And really that's because your regularly scheduled program for them is glitching. The one they purchased, it's glitching. So they will guilt trip you here. All right, they're complaining to support, which is you, right? So because you're not really adhering, you're not adhering, you know, the app's not working. You're not adhering to that hidden scheduled servant program, that program that they want to be, that they want running here. And they will still really, honestly, these ones fully expect you to carry on without a glitch, without complaint, any kind of work stoppages. No. You're supposed to just carry on, no matter what it is. And so we're gonna go now into the overt or the malignant narcs. The nasty ones, the ones that are just out there, right? So as you know, they don't hold punches. They don't really care. They'll tell you, right? So their typical go-to here is to really flat out let you know to your face, right to your face. You've ruined their schedule, you've ruined their work days, you've taken too many of their sick days, you've inconvenienced the plan they supposedly had from last year. These ones will typically dust off the whip, so to speak, and they will really continue bossing you around. They're just, you know, get me this, do that, did you clean the car? They don't care. If you've had brain surgery, they don't care. So if you say have, I don't know, a broken ankle, all right? So you have a broken ankle. They will actually put your crutches just out of reach. Sometimes they'll even say that they're helping you get off your butt, but they'll force you. Like they'll just watch you and they'll love it, but they'll watch you limp over. And they'll use that you had to get up and you had to, like, you know, work your way over there as proving that you're fine, right? You're fine. You got up. So something callously they might say here too is, well, you finally off, you lazy butt. Good for you. So you still haven't done X, Y, Z. They'll name some stuff off, right? But they're going to be more in your face about it, more obvious. So now we're going to go into the sociopath and the psychopathic breeds when you are ill or injured. These ones really can create literally a mountain out of your molehill. Literally, they're just gonna. One of the bigger goals here is to make it worse for you. Just make it worse. So both psychopaths and sociopaths here are very typically very high on that scale of that Machiavellianism, right? That triangle we've discussed before, right? Those traits, right? Those punishing, those punitive, those punitive angles, right? To make you suffer, that sadism portion, right? And so this is perfect for them, right? So each of these two types actually view a partner's illness, injury, recovery from something maybe they've even caused, right? Purely through a lens of utility, control, and exploitation. That's it. Sociopaths specifically here, though, are a little bit different. They're actually going to flat out be raging, slamming doors. They're going to react with outward rage when you really seriously and honestly need help, even basic help. So, and that's if they say even bring you a drink. So say they have to bring you a drink, they will just slam it down loudly in front of you, and they will like be rageful, and you've inconvenienced them. So now they're probably going to throw in a little payback saliva mix. I've actually seen that happen. Seen it. So their resentment will be out loud. It's going to be rude. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be ignorant. Like it's just boom coming out, right? And they really love to kick you when you're down, but they're going to be rageful about it at every opportunity, right? They're even going to maybe flatly call you out as crazy. You're a hypochondriac. You're always sick. You're always making things up for attention. The irony, right? The irony. So even really here, like they're even might boldly claim to you, like while you're kind of lying there half dead, right? That you're just doing this to keep them down, to irritate them, to take their time. You're doing this to control them. Again, the irony, right? And so ending off here, we're gonna move on to we're gonna end off here with the predator of all predators, our T-Rex, right? The psychopath, and bless you if this has happened. So the psychopath, these ones here are more calculated. They're gonna calculate say they know you have a surgery coming, they're going to calculate from that date upwards to do things. Okay, they're going to be calmer, but they have a plan. So if they're still if they're still maintaining a hidden agenda, like that they're with you or whatever it is, they can really put on a very, very dedicated and very convincing mask to everybody, their family, your family, neighbors, everybody. So they could really win their Oscar, right? They can win that Oscar for their Florence Nightingale on steroids act. They can win an Oscar. So, but honestly, when you're alone with them, when you're just alone with them and you're desperately trying to recover and you need some time, right? You're going to start feeling this unsettling, kind of creepy, cold, kind of flat, unnatural. It's kind of like an eerie calm. Okay, it's going to settle over the room. It's going to settle over wherever you are. Which really, if you're in a love bomb phase with a psychopath, and if you haven't kind of sussed out what they are yet, you might actually mistake this, right? You're going to mistake this for somebody that's very calm in emergencies and dire situations. They've got a steady hand. Ooh, they're so mellow. They're so focused. And that's when your flag should go up. You're going to think they're like an unflappable caregiver. That might be what you're thinking. They will even casually, kind of blankly, just blankly, nothing, no emotion, watch you struggle. To lift something, to bend over, whatever it may be, or even attend to a serious wound yourself, they'll just sit there and watch you. They don't care. So these ones have actually kind of perfected, right, that medical neglect. It's called medical neglect, right? And they're going to couple that with severe isolation to just keep you down, right? Refusing to even assist you with basic hygiene, basic toileting, while you're kind of bedridden, right? Like not helping you bathe, not helping you get to the toilet, things like that. They're going to place your family members, their family members, or brag loudly to neighbors outside the window, right? They're going to proudly tell everybody how great of care they're taking of you. They're going to mask up. They're going to be the nice guy or the nice girl. They're going to make these calls probably on speakerphone in front of you while you're half dead. And they're going to talk the spiel, right? Do the narrative, right? And then in private, they're going to call these same people, and say you're lazy, you're exaggerating, you're ungrateful, you're cranky, whatever it may be, right? They're also going to play with you tech games, lots of tech games here, using their many burner phones, right, to kind of mentally gaslight you, play with your head, and kind of force those reactive abuse responses, right, which you probably don't have the energy even to recover, and now you're getting pulled into that, right? So they love it. So including not missing a beat here of like their own never-ending secret and kind of public social life, right? Theirs won't end. They want you to sit somewhere like an object being mistreated while they go do what they want. So while they're leaving you really in usually dirty, depressing, messy rooms and places, right? And you'll be fully alone, by yourself, no calls, no texts, nothing for weeks, maybe months, depending, I guess, on what it is, right? They're going to also heavily isolate you, heavily, so that you rest. They might phrase it so you rest, right? But when they're outside on stage, right, they're going to play the martyr. They're going to mask up to keep that false persona of them being such a great person, right, just propped up, and really to control all the information about you to any friends, any family, neighbors, whomever, their coworkers, your coworkers, whoever, right? Anybody that you actually even might have left standing, right? Assuming, honestly, with a psychopath, that they bother even telling anyone at all you even know. Usually it's not worth mentioning, so they won't mention it. But they'll do really nasty things, okay? Like accidentally banging into your elbow, banging into your wounds, or ripping open your injury by accident, right? And the main goal throughout this is really to cut you off from proper healing, from access to that external support from others, and ensure kind of that, like, your isolation from pretty much anyone that might still be in your bubble. You may try to even check in on your recovery, these people, right? And they're going to try to stop that. So also here they're going to do something and take advantage, of course, which is financial manipulation. So they can really, and also with your medication, right? So this is to affect your dependence on any prescribed medications, right? To control your moods, to control how you feel, to control profit, to benefit financially, right? And to have fun gaslighting you. That's why they're messing with your meds, and they will mess with your meds. A behavioral sample here is they will maybe steal your prescribed pain pills. They might ask you if they can borrow a few, but they're going to take the whole thing while you are recovering. So either they are doing this to consume them themselves, which is honestly most likely what it is. All right, or they're going to give it to these toxic side supplies, or people like naive people that don't know, that probably aren't aware they even have a mate or whatever, or they're going to do it for profit. They're going to sell your stuff. When you ask where any remaining meds went, or hope they've left a few aside for you, or whatever it may be, not going to see anything. So they will then calmly and very easily, on top of all this nonsense, gaslight you. Okay, and they're going to gaslight you with ridiculous things, but they're going to sell them, right? So things like, well, you already took it, you already had 5 pills, don't you remember? Things like that. Your memory's failing. What pills? I never picked any pills up. Things like that. So, or they'll say something like, oh, I put them away because they were just making you too crazy, they were making you too moody, they were making you nauseous, so it's for you. So they will even go so low as to pretend they themselves are still in pain from maybe an old injury or something like that. And they will even ask you to personally, if they could just take a few or take the bottle to see if a friend or coworker who maybe just injured themselves or is having a problem would need, right? And when you kind of inquire, right, for where at least some of these pills went, because usually by this time you are down to some extreme pain and you just can't hold off anymore, and you just kind of need something maybe to take the edge off something serious, they will just simply even claim to your face they lost them, or like a friend stole them, or maybe law enforcement confiscated the pills from their friend, but yet you're never going to see proof of this, and you won't know what friend, by the way. So the bonus there also being having a kick. They'll get a kick, that duper's delight, right, from you being ignorant to what's really happening, you being defenseless in the moment, you being in extra pain. That just makes them happy. And it's, and way too focused, right, to just healing to take them on. This is when you're weak. Like the weak fawn in the wood, right? And they figure really because you're broken, you deserve what you're getting. You're weak, you deserve what you're getting. So they may as well enjoy some duper's delight by what you're doing to them. Nuts, right? So by twisting that knife, right, they're going to twist the knife at you, literally sometimes at your lowest, right? Another thing here is they're going to do things like malicious contamination, right, health sabotaging. And what that involves here, unfortunately, is they may actively try to make you sicker. They're going to try to make you sicker, or they're going to delay your healing to kind of keep you dependent, keep you in a room, keep you somewhere else so that they can go off and do what they want. It's insane, I know. So they're also most likely, unfortunately, if they're at this point, and especially in a discard phase here, they're using all this free time they've now got. They consider this free time. They're working on your replacement, the newest naive or other toxic person. That's what they're working on, right? And some behavioral kind of samples that you're going to see here are kind of that extreme ghosting. You're not going to hear from them weeks, months, from the day you come back, right? Well, they're hunting that replacement they've probably been after for months or years in the background, right? And they're really pre-prepping that smear campaign against you, right? They're prepping it up because they know what's going to happen and how it's going to look. So when they desert you at your weakest, they need to prep that story. And psychopaths especially will leave you struggling completely on your own. No food, no clean clothes, nothing, okay? No help for your kids, nothing. So they may actually even bring you food. Say you order food in, or they bring you food or drinks that will taste like chemicals. Right, they're chemically altered, such as a milkshake or maybe a meal that will taste like bleach or chemicals, or they'll bring you food that they have to make that usually you don't like and they like, that you either dislike, it is too cold, it is something very unhealthy because they don't want you to get better, or it's even badly seasoned or so bad that you can't eat it. And the reason that they're doing that when you're really weak is because they're telling everyone that they're taking this great care of you, right? And so when you question it or you kind of refuse to eat it because it's suspect and you're like, this might hurt me, right? They might even slyly smirk and smugly accuse you of being paranoid, delusional, ungrateful, because for all their care they're giving you, and now you're turning your nose up at this thing that you're tasting in your food, or you can clearly see in your food, like paper clips or some stuff, right? Like staples, things like that. So they will also use these dire times when you are physically or mentally foggy, because usually you're on medication or you're exhausted from coming back from a hospital, whatever it may be, right? So they're going to use this when you're foggy or you're just kind of just self-focused in that moment, or you're trying to just, you know, deal with your illness to commit fraud or have yet another affair. And here's also where they will begin in earnest here to rapidly pull out their little crazy calculator, and they're going to calculate your final bill. And everybody has a final bill. So this is where they're going to assess that first principle that was acquired during the love bomb, where they had to mask up and they had to pay attention to you and pretend that they cared and all of that. So that's your principle, right? Then they're going to calculate that interest, how long they've been with you, what they've been through, what they've had to sacrifice for you. I know, right? Not to mention handling fees, right? Those handling fees at the end. So some behavioral samples that you might see here, especially if they're on their way out to another pony or another toxic pony or naive or whatever, right? Is they're gonna have you misuse or up your credit or debit cards. They're gonna either let you go crazy on them, or they won't, because they're gonna try to scam them later, right? They're also gonna try to access your bank accounts, drain any cash that you have from wallets, from accounts, from envelopes, wherever they know. So they're going to also, kind of before this, they're going to set up your gadgets, your devices, your modems, everything. They're going to get into them to hack you, stalk you, because they think in their little weird brains that it's all right to access your personal info, yet you don't see any of their real info. You never do. And that's really to keep you from moving on and to keep you from telling people what is occurring, what's happening here. All right, so they're really also going to do something else here by helping you to get your mail, but they're going to redirect it or steal it from you. They're going to use your resources while you're down, like your vehicles, your property, your things, to do extremely, extremely sketchy things. And they're going to also leave you in an extreme mess. And they're going to do this weeks before they go to exhaust you, including neglecting even to give you clean bedding or your basic laundry needs. You know, but never fear. You're going to notice here that they're going to make sure that theirs is done, that they're eating, that their laundry is done, that their car is clean, whatever. They're out and about, right? And they're also going to give you kind of chilling kind of threats, little casual dropping comments and threats to make you nervous, make you think, make you wonder what's happening, right? They might even mention something like a hidden life insurance policy, which, by the way, I always check those, right? And especially when you're with one of these people, right? So that's why I'm going to go into a quick warning here. That last one that they're saying might be true. Check it out, because of the food and stuff, right? It might actually be quite true, and you actually need to just note down the time, the date, what the food was, where they were, even if it's just for a moment. Write it on your phone and keep it. Trust me, it'll come in handy. But usually it is honestly just simply sadism. It is sadism, right? It's their sadism, and it's popping out, right? And they can enjoy it, get a little thrill, right? Engaging your shocked reaction or your kind of look of concern, or instilling some fear in your eyes, right? When you're at your weakest. They're sick, they're very sick. So keep in mind also too here that narcissists, all narcissists, no matter which one, they detest weakness. It is literally, to them, like blood in the water for a shark. It is literally like this. That's what it is. All right, so that was a tough one. Well, that was our kind of horror, kind of hospital recovery illness story for this particular video. So we've gotten through that one, right? Please be sure here to like, subscribe, or follow Deb's Corner Canada's combined channels. You know, Facebook, TikTok, Quora, Threads, Instagram, all that good stuff. TikTok has I have three different ones there because they're growing. And there's about a 12,000 plus follower mark now, which is fantastic. So I did want to really sincerely thank you very sincerely and very, very humbly, just really here for that continued support that I keep getting from those that have kept following all this time, and those that kind of add on, and I love your comments too, so keep them coming, right? So what I need you to do here is have a great day, stay in your integrity, stay in your light and your purpose, and as always, always do unto others. God bless, and I'll see you soon.